And now, many, many years later, I was rethinking the other day about what happened to me when I first went away to college. You know, it was the first time in my life where I had been away from home. I'd gone off to college, and because of the way things turned out, I was basically didn't come home for the first time until Thanksgiving. So I'd been away for a couple of months, and you know, when you're away, things just kind of fall into a pattern and you start to feel comfortable with yourself and everything is good. And it wasn't until I actually returned home that I realized how much I missed being home. Kind of strange, isn't it? It's like, you know, it's kind of out of mind a little bit. You don't really think too much about it. But then all of a sudden, there you are sitting with the family and, you know, you're enjoying a good meal because, you know, when you're away at college, you don't get too many good meals and, you know, and everything is going right. And I just remember sitting at that table that night and having dinner with everybody and recognizing just how much they made a difference in my life, how important it was for me to connect with my family. You know, so many of us have an experience like that of coming home after being away. For whatever the reason may be, you were off on business, or you were off on some trip, or you were away and you go, like some people go away for the winter now and they'll come back in the spring and things like that. But that coming home, that experience, that feeling that we have when we come back. You know, so often I think we fail to understand, or we don't recognize anymore, just how important it is to have a home. I mean, we know people right now around the world that have been displaced from their homes. We know people around the world who have given up everything and traveled long distances. We know people who have struggled. And most of us really don't know the feeling of what it's like to really not have a place to call home. And yet, universally, we have always wanted or felt that the church should feel like home for everybody. That anybody in Kings Park, especially Catholics here in Kings Park, could walk into this building and have that feeling like I had when I came home after all that time. That comfort, that well-being, that welcome, that what we like to call hospitality. We have to ask ourselves a question. Is this place, not only for us, but for others, a place of welcome, a place of hospitality? Now, you know, there are some things that we hear sometimes, and I'm like one of those word masters. I really like to understand words. And I think about someone, say, like a Pope Francis, saying that the church ought to be a field hospital for sinners. And the first time he said that, I kind of scratched my head and I said, huh? You know, yeah, this is a place where sinners get better. This is a place where sinners get well. Okay. But notice something, I don't think even maybe he caught it. At the root of the word hospitality is hospital. At the root of the word hospitality is hospital. That's not by accident. To be hospitable. Is this a hospitable place? Is this a place where someone can come and be healed? Where someone can come and be welcomed? Where someone can come and find hope, find joy? And I have to say to myself, we do a pretty good job, but one of the tensions that I find sometimes is we don't really treat each other in this building as if we really were like family. You know, sometimes it's like, you know, like we come in and we see the same faces and we walk by the same people week after week, especially if you go to the same mass, you probably see the same faces. And yet, how many of those people do we know and how many we don't know? We beeline right for the person that's a good friend and we go chat with them and we say hello to them. But what about the person that we've seen maybe a dozen times and never said hello to them? Never even just took a moment to introduce ourselves, to work on trying to build a little bit of that Christian community. And so one of the things that we would really like to emphasize during Advent this year is this whole thing of coming home. You know for sure in a couple of weeks, a lot of our family members are going to be here. They're going to come home for Christmas. Are we going to be the field hospital for them? Are we going to be able to show that hospitality for them? Do we ourselves experience that hospitality here? And so I often say, and I will say this to you, Just look around you right now. Go ahead, you're allowed. I'll give you permission. You don't have to keep looking at me. Look around you and look at the faces around you and the people around you and the others that have come to this place here with you. Get to know each other a little bit. Just become more than just a familiar face. So many people are hurting today. So many families have been beaten up. So many husbands and wives are breaking up. And I really truly believe it's because we here in this place have learned, have fallen away from being truly hospitable to one another, of caring for one another, of praying for that person, of being there to help that person or to be helped if we need it. We tend to isolate and we tend to close off. And that's not what Jesus wants. Jesus wants us to be welcoming. As we are preparing ourselves for sure for the Christmas season, we're going to prepare ourselves for Christmas Day. There's a lot of details and planning that's going to go into it, but a big part of it is exactly what we hear from the prophet Isaiah. I love especially that latter part of Isaiah's book. This is when the people were off in exile. They were off scattered all over the place, and he's writing to try to comfort them. And we're going to even hear those words, comfort, give comfort to my people. We're going to hear these words of exile. Did you hear in the opening song today, O come Emmanuel, O come, and ransom captive Israel? Who do you think he's talking about? The exiled people who mourn in exile. And we're like a people in exile. We're a people on a journey. As believers, we're journeying together. We have a destiny. We have a place. God came to restore us. God came to make us new. And so, my dear brothers and sisters, I believe we really need to start oozing that out. We've got to keep this really great secret that we have about Jesus Christ. We've got to break that secret. You have my permission. So, in the coming weeks, especially within family, and we're going to be emphasizing family and heritage, because let's face it, a lot of what you live today came through the traditions handed on by your family, came through the traditions that were given to you. Everybody might celebrate Christmas a little bit differently in their homes, but you're probably doing the same thing that your parents did, and their parents did, and their parents did. And that heritage, I think, is so important because we as Christians have a heritage also. And we have been handed on time and time again. So I'm going to hope that you can start to share Jesus a little bit more this Advent. I think this world really truly needs to hear about Jesus. If you know someone who's wandering and lost and drifted from the faith, make that person the object of your prayer. Make that person the one you're going to pray for in the coming weeks. If you've known that they've drifted away, maybe even give them an invitation that you want to bring them home to this place, that you want to walk with them on this journey, that you want to reintroduce them to Jesus Christ. Don't be afraid to share your faith a little bit and to invite. To be inviting, to be hospitable, to be welcoming begins outside this building. It's built in the family. It's built in that heritage. And so for us to truly be hospitable, I think one of the big things that made a difference for me when I came home that Thanksgiving was I felt I was in that field hospital again. All of the things that had been lacking for me and all of the things that had weakened within me were once again re-strengthened. And that's what happens here in this place. That's why our staff has decided this year we want to emphasize the Jesse tree, and I'm going to bless it in a few moments. We want to emphasize the Jesse tree because in its tradition is heritage. We're going to be tracing some of the stories. So if you come every day to the 8:45 Mass, we'll be placing another ornament each day. And we'll be talking a little bit about that ornament, starting with creation and tracing our heritage to Jesus Christ. We're going to go all the way through up to the fourth Sunday. It's going to be tight this year. We have to pack it in a little bit because it's the short Advent. This is as short as Advent can get. But we're going to try to trace all the way up to Jesus Christ. And so day by day, we're going to be doing that. Monday evening, if you can be here at 5 o'clock in the church, right here, we're going to once again place the first ornament this Monday evening. And then every day at the 8:45 and at Sundays at the 9 o'clock Mass, we'll place a new ornament and say a special prayer that day. I invite you to be part of that because it's rich in our faith. It's rich in our heritage. And it's rich in our wanting to anticipate the coming of Jesus Christ. And so with your parish family, let's journey together to Christmas. First and foremost, in our family, praying for the one that maybe needs the prayers right now, the one that's drifting and wandering, praying for the one whose faith is weakened, praying for the family members that are drifting apart. Pray that God start to bring them back together so that big coming home on Christmas can be a welcome home. Welcome to the place that gives you peace. Welcome to the place that gives you hope. Welcome to the place that helps you to be that person in the world that Christ called you to be. That loving, hope-filled, faith-filled person. Yes, today especially, we emphasize the importance of family, our heritage, and the need for more hospitality. God bless you.